So I guess the first question I have for you is to get an idea from you how you got involved in the Obama campaign.
Yes, it was just a few months ago, and originally I just started looking around on the internet to try to find out if anybody was doing anything in London, and I wasn't expecting at first to be volunteering. I just wanted to find out if people. I think they were meeting on a bridge, and I was thinking of doing that. And little by little, somebody got in touch with me and started letting me know about. Yes, we're going to be meeting at places and handing out leaflets. Do you want to do that, or do you want to do phone calls or anything? And it happened kind of organically. I think I started the end of August or the beginning of September. I think about that mid or end of August. Okay. I started, and I really liked the people that I was meeting, and it just kind of took on from there.
And so, had you been involved in politics before this election cycle?
Absolutely not. Never.
Okay.
My parents had campaigned for Kennedy, and apart from that, I just, I just had no interest in politics, really. I just, like a lot of my peers, just assumed all politicians were corrupt, and it didn't really make much difference, and no, not at all.
Okay, so that's interesting. So what's different this time? Why did you decide to get involved?
Somewhere back in February, I started. It actually was through seeing one of Obama's. I was kind of curious about what was going on, and I live here. My husband's English, and this election, it was a lot of whether it seemed like it was going to be Hillary versus Giuliani, and I saw on YouTube Obama's concession speech for New Hampshire, which was the speech that phrase "Yes, we can," and that they then made into the song, the video. And I saw that, and I saw it on a day that my husband was having a particularly rough time with his business, and it just touched something very profound in me, and I just really thought, this guy is it. This is what we've been waiting for. And I got his books. I started reading his books. I started following it, and he just he seemed like the real thing.
Yeah.
And everything since then was just sort of the same thing as what's happened with everybody else I've known. Is just we've got to make him win. What can we do?
so I guess leaping forward a little bit to next week. Having been involved now for a while. So what do you expect next week? What do you think based on what you've been hearing? And it's everybody I talk to is the same way. We don't want to jinx it. We know, we know about the Bradley effect. We know that things can change. We remember what happened with those ballot things in Florida, and it's looking good. It's getting really exciting, but we're not celebrating yet. We're everybody's. What I'm finding I'm doing a lot of, and it seems that everybody else I know is we're getting really hooked to just Googling around and looking at sites like 538 and looking at polling numbers, and just that is those of us that haven't actually flown to swing states. I know a lot of people that have flown, found somebody to stay with in swing states, and they're doing more of the same. And they're canvassing and working now and just trying to make it happen. But okay,
just hoping he'll win.
So again, without assuming anything, it is looking good in the polls now at the moment. So assuming that indeed, Obama does win next week, what do you think will happen to this immense grassroots network that you're now a part of? Because that's obviously something that's built for an election cycle. But what do you expect will happen to that movement once there is an Obama presidency and an Obama administration, and what could be the good and the potentially perilous sides to that network for President Obama?
Oh, do you mean what will the volunteers actually do, or
Well, yeah, I guess all the millions of people that in one way or another have gotten involved in his campaign in such a unprecedented way, they are now working to get him elected. But what will they do when he does become president? And I guess specifically what I'm getting at is, what do you think will happen if maybe a more liberal part of his base, if he will need to do some more unpopular things, like maybe staying in Iraq a little bit longer, or really building up the force in Afghanistan, but something that maybe a lot of his more liberal supporters would not like.
Well, I think speaking for myself, and I consider myself liberal, and my parents, are and were as well. I don't think anybody's naive about that. Especially in Afghanistan, I think that there's a serious need to have a presence there, and that's something that Senator Obama has been saying for a while. Is absolutely, we need to wean Iraq off of us, and they want us out of there. Have not abandon Iraq and create a situation like what happened in Cambodia, but get out in a safe way, phase that out, but absolutely so that there can be. I think the idea is that I don't think there's any question in anyone's mind that Afghanistan's going to be abandoned. I think that there is going to. I don't think anybody is naive enough to think that there will not be an American military presence in the world. But the main difference in ideology, it seems to me, between what Democrats and particularly Obama supporters want versus, say, what Hillary supporters might have wanted, or what Republicans would want, is that it's kind of like superhero stuff. Is using our powers for forces of good as opposed to forces of taking over other countries and conquering other countries, but using it more as a using the military might and power as a more of a peacekeeping process, and certainly in Afghanistan is making sure that Al Qaeda does not grow, does not thrive.
Real Pundits.